Welcome to the Quality Matters Rubric video. The Quality Matters Rubric consists of 8 general standards and 42 specific review standards or SRSs. The general standards and specific review standards in each rubric are intended to guide you through the development, evaluation, and improvement of your online and blended courses. Meeting these quality expectations at or above the 85% level is key to certifying the quality of your courses. For a list of general and specific review standards, see the QM Higher Education rubric located in this overview module under Distance Learning Course Resources. Use this document as a reference as you continue through the video and through this course. In the next slides we are going to go through each of the 8 general standards to give you an overview of what they cover, and what your role is in regard to each standard. General Standard 1, Course Overview and Introduction. The overall design of the course is made clear to the learner at the beginning of the course. The course overview and introduction sets the tone for the course, lets learners know what to expect, and provide other guidance to help learners succeed from the outset. As the instructor, you will need to share your deep knowledge of the course organization, navigation, expectations, and policies. Note: it is important to become familiar with the course you are teaching so that you will be able to assist learners with navigating the course. To put this in perspective, you've just finished designing your online or blended course, creating rich content, connected activities, and aligned assessments. The course is rigorous and meets your instructional practices. You are done, right? What you might not recognize is that you are at an instructional challenging point of online course design. As the designer, you know how the course is organized and where/how learners are to begin. But you have not shared this with your learners. What becomes the easiest thing for a designer to forget at the end of the process? Clear instructions to the learners about how to begin is the first thing that learners are faced with when they log into an online course. The acronym 1 can be useful when you are getting ready to make sure you are addressing the important issue of making sure your design includes ways to welcome learners to your online course. O. Organizing information to give your learners a good start by presenting the whats, whens, whys, and hows of the course design. And navigating and leading learners to locate key course components and make connections that will promote a positive feeling for learners. E. Expectations is about establishing and explaining relationships to help your learners recognize learning relationships in your course, such as how things fit together in your course, and expectations about behavior in the online classroom, and other expectations, such as how often you expect learners to log in. The next General Standard, General Standard 2, Learning Objectives. The learning objectives or competencies describe what learners will be able to do upon completion of the course. The learning objectives or competencies establish a foundation upon which the rest of the course is based. As an instructor, you will need to provide a measurable, precise learning objectives or competencies at the course and module unit level, so your learners will know what is expected of them. These learning objectives or competencies are provided in the course. It is important for the instructor to know what they are, where they are located in the course, and that they are aligned with what the learner will be able to do at the completion of this course. General Standard 2 is the foundation of the QM rubric and the key standard for alignment. It is the only general standard in which all specific review standards are essential. It acknowledges the use and importance of course learning objectives or competencies at the module unit level of a course. The learning objectives or competencies for the course set the standards and conditions for learning and are critical to a successful outcome. The learning objectives or competencies are also the first element of alignment, an instructional design concept that ensures the core elements of a course reinforce each other and work together to promote learning. General Standard 3. This standard focuses on the assessment and measurement. Assessments are integral to the learning process and are designed to evaluate learner progress in achieving the stated learning objectives or mastering the competencies. Assessment is implemented in a manner that corresponds to the course learning objectives or competencies and not only allow the instructor a broad perspective on the learner's mastery of content, but also allows learner to track their learning progress through the course. As instructors, your assessments must align with your stated learning objectives or competencies and guide learners to track their own learning progress. Quality Matters stresses the importance of measurable objectives or competencies so that these learning objectives or competencies can guide instructors to develop assessments that accurately assess learner accomplishment. For example, a learning objective or competency that states learners will understand modern art cannot be measured, as there is no way to adequately define and then assess a learner's understanding. However, A learning objective or competency that states learners will describe the 5 characteristics of paintings classed as modern art is something that can be measured through a variety of assessment techniques. This is a simplistic example, but it illustrates what QM is looking for. The terms assessment and measurement used in General Standard 3 mean more than just quizzes and exams. Assessment refers to any learner activity, for which the instructor provides feedback that guides the learner to improved learning. These assessment activities might range from a brief, automatically graded self-check to a fully annotated paper to the final essay exam, but each is important because it helps the instructor form an accurate, current picture of learner learning and provides crucial, regular feedback to help learners assess their own progress. General Standard 4, Instructional Materials. Instructional materials enable learners to achieve stated learning objectives or competencies. The focus of this general standard is on supporting the course objectives and competencies, rather than on qualitative judgments about the instructional materials. As instructors, you will need to provide a variety of instructional materials that support our stated learning objectives or competencies. General Standard 4 prompts you to take a close look at the course's instructional materials. In the early days of online teaching, faculty thought that building an online course simply involved selecting a good textbook and/or writing out their lectures and posting them within the online class. As our understanding of online learning has evolved, it has become clear that that approach is not sufficient to engage our online learners and allow them to meet the learning objectives or competencies. Instructors must choose materials from a wide variety of options ranging from adopting a standard textbook to providing a list of resources from the campus's online library, to selecting learning objects from Rolo, to having learners create their own materials, most likely in a graduate course. Faculty may be confused or overwhelmed by the many choices available to them, hence, the importance of using the stated learning objectives or competencies as the basis for selecting instructional materials. General Standard 4 also considers the currency of your materials and prompts you to model academic integrity by providing references and permissions for materials and ensure that the relationship between materials and learning activities is clear. General Standard 5, Learning Activities and Learner Interaction. Learning activities facilitate and support learner interaction and engagement. Course components that promote active learning contribute to the learning process and to learner persistence. As instructors, you will need to provide meaningful and productive activities that prompt your learners to actively practice their learning. The instructor's role is to prompt the learners. In more traditional face-to-face classrooms, instructors often planned courses around 4 main elements: lectures, readings, exams, and a written paper or project. Learners interacted with the instructor and each other by asking questions or participating in discussions within the time allotted in the classroom. Learners with more initiative could visit their professors during office hours or perhaps arrange to meet fellow learners in a study group. While this approach might work in a face-to-face classroom on a college campus, it cannot succeed in the online environment. Learners need consistent guidance and support from their instructors and meaningful opportunities to engage with the content and their fellow learners. Engage the learner with the course content by providing your learners with the opportunity to practice their learning as preparation for meeting the stated learning objectives or competencies. This concept of practice learning is particularly important in an online course. You cannot expect your learners to simply read the text and then be successful on your assessments. It is your responsibility as the instructor to design opportunities for the learners to practice their learning at the appropriate levels to ensure that they can meet your learning objectives or competencies. Interaction between the instructor and learners, among learners, and between learners and instructional materials is employed to motivate learners and foster intellectual commitment and personal development. And it is critical that instructors also be present and engaged in the online classroom, and that the instructor clearly tells his or her learners how and when he or she will communicate with them, participate in discussions, and provide feedback. Assessments include all activities, assignments, exams, discussions, etc., for which feedback is provided and/or grades assigned. General Standard 6, Course Technology. Course technologies support learners' achievement of course objectives or competencies. The technologies enabling the various tools used in the course facilitate rather than impede the learning process. As instructors, you will need to select tools that best support your learning objectives or competencies and promote learner engagement. Course technology deals with the use of the endless number of technology tools that are well suited to online delivery and may be used in online and blended courses. It seems like every week there's a new technology on the market, particularly in the social media area. and it is a challenge to stay abreast of these technological advancements and how they can enhance learning. The specific function of technology in an online course is to support your learning objectives or competencies. The use of tools is not required for online or blended courses to meet Quality Matters standards. Many exemplary courses consist of text-only study guides or web pages. Instructors and course designers may not have the equipment, skills, or institutional support to develop advanced course components. Online learners may still use dial-up internet service. These learners will not have the connectivity to receive courses requiring significant bandwidth. General Standard 6, Course technology seeks to assure that those tools that are used have a clear purpose, support the learning objectives or competencies, and provide learners with information on protecting their data and privacy. General Standard 7, Learner Support. The course facilitates access to institutional support services essential to learner success. It is important to ensure online learners know they have access to and are encouraged to use the service that support learner at the institution. In the Learner Support Standard, 4 different kinds of support services are addressed: technical support, accessibility support, academic services support, and student services support. As instructors, you will need to direct your online learners to support services. They need to be successful and would be available to them if they attended campus-based courses. In this course, support services are located in the Resources tab. These resources consist of university statements, university's policies, technology support services, student services, and the Title IX statement. It is important to have learner support services available in your courses, and become familiar with them, so learners can access these services when needed. In the very early days of online courses, institutions invested in a learning management system and technical support, but often had difficulty retooling other support services. It took much longer for most institutions to recognize that their online learners also needed academic support, testing, tutoring, library services, and student support services, advising and counseling, in particular. And, of course, for those online students who need special services, it is critical to offer disability support services. Since providing these services is an institutional responsibility, rather than an individual faculty member responsibility, General Standard 7 is designed to ensure that instructors are not penalized if their institutions do not offer a full array of online services. Note that each of the 4 specific review standards require links to institutional services, making the assumption that offering these services is not the responsibility of a single instructor within a specific course. Clearly, however, it is the instructor's responsibility to direct his or her learners to those services which are available and critical to a particular course. The last general standard of Quality Matters is General Standard 8, Accessibility and Usability. The course design reflects a commitment to accessibility and usability for all learners. The course design utilizes the principles of Universal Design for Learning, UDL, and reflects a commitment to accessibility, ensuring all learners can easily navigate and interact with course components. As an instructor, you will need to design your course so all learners can access and use the course materials and be successful in the course. Institutional support for accessibility varies widely among institutions. Some institutions are committed to accessibility issues and provide both training and design support for their faculty. Other institutions are more minimal in their approach to accessibility and offer little guidance or support for faculty. The Quality Matters rubric acknowledges this disparity by including only 3 essential specific review standards in this general standard. The first, 8.1, relates to course navigation facilitating ease of use, something the faculty member has some measure of control over. The second, 8.2, requires faculty to design the course to facilitate readability, again something they have some measure of control over. The third, 8.3, requires that the course provide accessible text and images. That is the 8 general standards. And thanks to you, Quality Matters.